My name is Gill and when I joined Friends First I was 45 to begin with. I'd been single all my life up until that point. I had thought from time to time about joining some sort of agency, but I always felt that it was like trying to engineer something rather than it happening as part of your everyday life. So I never did until I heard about Friends First, firstly via my mum. Some leaflets for it had been delivered to her church, and she rang up, or in a conversation we were having, she told me about it, and I felt quite affronted to begin with. But then I began to think about it a bit more. As I say, I'd always been single up till that point. Although I had a really happy life, most of the time I was quite content being by myself. I have a married sister and a married brother, both of whom have several children, so I've got lots of nieces and nephews, and was very happy being involved with my sister's children, particularly as they were growing up. I did have a sense of lack in my life from time to time, but it went away again as I was busy getting on with things. I joined Friends First because I liked the lack of pressure, I think, and because everything was in your own control. You had control over who you contacted, who you decided to reply to, should they write to you first, that sort of thing. And because it's a Christian agency, and I wanted to be sure that anybody I met was going to have the same values and beliefs as I did. In thinking about being single and finding a long-term relationship, I got to the stage where I had an illness one summer and just felt really, really poorly, and thought, what happens if I'm 60 and this sort of thing happens, or 70 and this sort of thing happens? And I got better from that, and then later on that autumn, I think, I woke up in the middle of the night with dreadful backache and couldn't move. And again the same thing occurred to me: what do I do if I'm completely helpless and have nobody to help? And actually those were those two things that helped me to think about, I really need to do something about joining an agency. I didn't pray about it particularly because I thought it would just happen as part of my Christian life. It wasn't just that I didn't commit it to God, but I wasn't sort of urgent in prayer about it. It was just very much a part of everything else that I was praying about at the time. I think Friends First is an excellent organisation in terms of how efficient they were in sending out things that I needed to know, and how approachable they were when I contacted them in the first place, just to inquire about the whole process. I had quite a long conversation on the phone with Catherine Gray and found that really, really helpful, and it was that conversation that helped me to make my mind up that it was what I was going to do. I met David only a few months after I'd been with Friends First. I'd had a couple of contacts with other people before that, both at my instigation, both of whom took a very long time to get back to me, which I kind of found a bit depressing, really, because you think if people are going to join these agencies, then they're keen to get on with the whole process. So having to wait 3 weeks or a month before somebody can be bothered to reply is a bit depressing. I saw David's profile, I think it was in my second set of profiles, and I was attracted to it because his background was interesting in terms of being a musician and his family being musical. Also the fact that he was a lone parent and his children lived with him, and what it said in the profile about his teenagers, as they were at the time, was just interesting and made me think, rather than just kind of gloss over it as a no, I couldn't be meeting somebody with children. I emailed him quite soon after getting his details, and he emailed back straight away, which I thought, well, there's a bonus. Somebody who's interested in responding straight away. He hadn't had my details at that stage because he'd joined, I think, after me, but he was very pleased to hear from me, and we emailed a few times in a very friendly manner. And then he rang me up one evening, and we were on the phone for about an hour and a half having a fantastic conversation about all sorts of everything. And over the next couple of days we had more conversations like that, and then he suggested that we meet. And with hindsight, that was because it's very easy to build up a false impression of what you think somebody's going to be like over phone calls and emails, and you need to meet quickly. If you think something might be beginning to develop, you need to meet straight away, so that if anything isn't going to develop, then you haven't got a massive letdown when it turns out not to be the case. And to begin with, when we met, which was 8 days after we first got in contact, and happened to be on Valentine's Day, which completely escaped my notice at the time, we thought, well, this person is nice, but I don't think there's any spark there of anything that might develop. And once we'd admitted that to each other, we actually got on a lot better and just had a nice day together. We went for a walk, we went for a meal, and just chatted and chatted and chatted about all sorts of things and shared our stories. And that connection made me feel sad that there hadn't been a spark, although you can't make sparks happen, but it made me feel sad that there wasn't one, so I wanted to keep in touch. So after I got home, I emailed him again, and we stayed in touch and met up 2 or 3 times over the course of the next few months. And as time went by, I began to think that I would like things to begin to go further. And so it was definitely for us a case of it being friends first, which we were. And the fact that we were such good friends was a key part of us beginning to court, and a key part, particularly for David, of us wanting to continue that relationship into marriage. I think if anybody was to join Friends First, they would get excellent professionalism, and its concern for people really stands out, and I would recommend it to anybody. For us, Friends First was exactly the right thing.